Hi. So here we are going to discuss about BGP community configuration on MikroTik, right? So BGP community is optional attribute in BGP, which basically add tags, and through that we can do path manipulation and we can do the filtration as well, right? So in this case we are going to configure on the MikroTik router. So here we will discuss about the BGP community, that is defined community, that is uh, no export and no advertise we will discuss here, that is defined BGP community, right? So before understand that, before configured on the MikroTik routers, we have to understand the topology here. So here we have this kind of topology. So we have taken four MikroTik routers, MikroTik 11s, 12, 13 and 14s. Okay, so before configure the no export, no advertise, let's understand the topology here. So this one we can see here the net. This is basically uh, connected here to just access the MikroTik router through the bin box, because to configure MikroTik router we required bin box application to configure that. We can also configure through the command line interface, but that is not much usable as compared to the bin box applications. So here we are going to configure in EVNG setup, right? So for the access we required this, right? That's why it is connected to every all other routers, right? Usually in the Cisco, when we do practice, we don't have this kind of things required to access for the configuration, but here in the MikroTik requires little bit. It shows complexity, but we have to understand that this is just add for to access the bin box. This is the bin box, and through this we are getting access of the MikroTik router through the bin box, right? So now the MikroTik 11 is or belongs to the AS11, MikroTik 12 belongs to the AS23, and MikroTik 13 belongs to AS23, and MikroTik 14 belongs to AS14, right? So in this case we have eBGP connections between MikroTik 11 to MikroTik 12 because different AS number, and iBGP connection between MikroTik 12 to 13 and eBGP connection again between MikroTik 12 to 14, right? So here we defined network address on the link to understand that. So between MikroTik 11 to MikroTik 12 we have 192.168.12.0/24, and between MikroTik 12 to 13 we have the network address 192.168.23.0/24, and MikroTik 12 to 14 we have 192.168.24.0/24. Accordingly, I just defined here also the IP address last two octet to understand that. So here MikroTik 11 and MikroTik 12 we configured the IP address here 12.11 and 12.12. Same way between MikroTik 12 to 13 we have configured 23.12 and 23.13, and MikroTik 12 to 14 we have 24.12 and 24.14. So this is the topology, right, which is shown in the diagram as well, right? So I already configured BGP neighborship, already done, because here we have to just test the configuration of no export and no advertise, right? So let's check that the configuration part. So what we have done the configurations and BGP established or not, we can check that. Okay, so this is MikroTik 11. Okay, so here already IP address is configured, so this one also configured. Before that, let's remove me first. Okay, so 192.168.12.11/24 is configured here, right, on ether 1 interface, right? And check the BGP configuration. For the check the BGP configuration, we have to go on the routing, and then we have to go on the BGP part. So here I already configured the instances, given the ACE number as well here, and the peers here we have done. So we can check that how the peers we have done. So here the name be given the peer 1, the instance is default, and accordingly the ACE number is taken. Whatever the remote ACE we have provided 23, because MikroTik 12 ACE number is 23, and whatever the whole timer's TTL value is already by default, right? So we configured here, so we can check that it's established or not. So we can check through the status. In the status we can see that here up timer is going, so that means it established. And through also we can check the new terminal. Through new terminal we can check that BGP established or not, right? So we can click here the new terminal, and let's check here BGP established or not. To check that, we can apply the command routing BGP, and we can say peer and print. Through this command we can check that neighborship established or not. So we can see that here E it means established, and remote address is 12.12, which is the IP address of MikroTik 12, and remote AS is 23. That means it established, right? The same way we can go on the MikroTik 12, and there also we can check yeah. So first of all we can check the IP addresses. So here the IP address is already configured, so that is 192.168.12.12 ether 1, 23.12 ether 2, 24.12 ether 3, right? So IP address is configured here. Check the routing BGP configuration. So here we have 3 peer here. So first peer with 12.11, which is MikroTik 11, right? And the second peer with 24.14, which is MikroTik 14, and third peer is 23.13, that is MikroTik 13, right? Check the establishment. We can check here the same way the command we can apply on the new terminal: routing BGP peer and print, right? So this is established with all 3 routers, right? We can see that E is available here, remote address is given. So we can see that just with MikroTik 13 we have the iBGP connection, because we can see the remote AS is 23, and MikroTik 12 AS also remote is 23, right? So we know here the establishment already done, the neighborship BGP neighborship already done, right? So now let's configure the no export BGP community, that is defined BGP community. So it will add tags with prefix, right? So to understand the no export, let's understand what is no export do exactly. So for that come on here the topology, the same topology, just router identity name is little different, but the same things available here, right? So the same topology here we have. So let's understand the no export. So to understand the no export, no export, no export community, right? No export community. So what no export community said? No export community said, uh, whatever the prefix received from R1, that is here we mentioned the R1 basically is. So here we have taken the two prefix, that is loopback 1 10.0.0.0/8 and the loopback 2 20.0.0.0/8. So after advertise here, so it will receive on the R2. So whatever the prefix received from R1, so R1 is basically we can make here, we can mention here the no export community. Okay, we configure here, if we configure here no export community, right? So in the no export community, so whatever prefix receiving from no export community on the R2, so it will only advertise to the iBGP neighbors, it will not advertise to the eBGP neighbor, right? So whatever the prefix configured here R1 and no export community is configured here, so whatever the prefix is receiving on R2 from no export community, it will only advertise to iBGP neighbor, but it will not advertise to eBGP neighbor, right? So if this two prefix 10 and 20 will receive on R2, once received it will advertise directly to the iBGP and it will not advertise to eBGP. This is basically called no export community, and we can see that prefix is receiving from no export community or not, right? So this is basic the concept of the no export community, right? Fine. So let's go on the MikroTik router and let's configure the no export community here. Okay, how can we configure? So before configure, we have to advertise here the network which is shown in the diagram, that will be like loopback we mentioned here. We can make two prefix here 10.0.0/8 and 20.0.0.0/8. two prefix we are taking here. So this one here on the MikroTik we will advertise, right? So we can mention upward, it will be more better. Okay, fine. So let's go on the MikroTik 1. This is MikroTik 1, right? This is MikroTik 11 here. I mean here mention 1 as 11. So how can we advertise here? First of all, we have to create loopback. So loopback, how we create loopbacks on the Cisco router? We create like interface loopback 1, loopback 2, something like that. For that, we have option, that is bridge option, right? So we have bridge option. So here we will create a bridge and the same like loopback. So here is the bridge option. Click on the plus, the bridge one, nothing do here, just apply. Okay, so first bridge one we have created. Again do the plus, so here we have bridge 2, apply and okay, right? So we have created bridge 1 and bridge 2, the same like loopback 1, loopback 2. Now we can configure the IP address here. So we can mention IP addresses here and we can do plus, and here we can give we can mention any IP. For example, we are mentioning IP address 10.0.0.1/8 and the interface we are going to configure on bridge 1, apply, okay, right? Same way we can again click on the plus, and we can mention here 20.0.0.1/8 we can mention, and bridge 2 we are going to configure on bridge 2, that is plus, right? Okay, so we configure the IP address on bridge 1, bridge 2, that means loop back 1, loop back 2, and let's advertise this two network in the BGP. So for that, routing BGP, here we are on the BGP now, here the peer, and here is the network option available we have, right? So we can add here networks, click on the plus, and we can remove the synchronization, and we can mention here the network, right? /8. Okay, and then you can do the same, copy, and here mention 20, right? So we advertise the network right here. So anything need to do here? Nothing to do here now. So let's check these two networks, we are getting this two prefix on MikroTik 12 or not, because BGP is already established, it should be get the prefix. Let me check on MikroTik 12. This is MikroTik 12, and how can we check? We can check the routing tables. So here, to check the routing tables, we can see, we can apply the command IP route and print. So once we apply the command IP route print, so we can see that here we have two prefix is receiving from 12.11, that is MikroTik 11. So distance is showing 20, that means eBGP, right? That is means AD value, that is administrative distance. Here we mention MikroTik mention distance basically. So we have prefix 10.0.0.0/8, 20.0.0.0/8, right? What is means ADB here? So we can see that A for the active, this is active, and D for dynamic, so here dynamic we have, and B here, that means BGP. Okay, active, dynamic, BGP, that means receiving prefix is active now, right? So this prefix received, right? So here still we haven't configured anything related to the community on MikroTik 11s. We just advertise the network on MikroTik 11s, and now we are receiving on MikroTik 12. The same way we can check the MikroTik 14 and MikroTik 13 as well. To understand that, let's go on MikroTik 14 first, and here we can go on new terminals, and here we can check first routing BGP peer print. So we can see that establishment already done, right? So now check the route, IP route print. So here we can also see that two prefix is receiving from distance 20, and we have the same prefix 1020, and here we receiving from 24.12, that is from MikroTik 12, right? So here we also received the same prefix, and let's check MikroTik 13 now. Go on MikroTik 13. So new terminals, here first check the peer routing BGP peer print. We can check and we can see that it is also established, right? Let's check the IP route print. So we can see that we are receiving prefix 10.0.0.0/8, same the 20 from 12.11, so which is 12.11 is the IP address of MikroTik 11s. So distance is 200, that means this is iBGP iBGP connection, right? But here we can see that gateway is 12.11, which is receiving from MikroTik 11. It is not receiving from MikroTik 12. So we can see the symbol here also, D, that is dynamic, and B for BGP, but this is not active, this is not here showing the active. So because here between MikroTik 12 and 13 we have iBGP connections, and so here basic the rule concept come for BGP next hope self, because uh, MikroTik 12 receiving prefix from eBGP neighbor, so it will not advertise to the iBGP neighbor, right? It will advertise to BGP neighbor, but it will not advertise, I mean it will not active, it will advertise but it will not active. So this is the rule of BGP next hope self. So for that, for active this prefix, we have to configure next hop self here on MikroTik 12. uh, this is the concept of MikroTik, this is the concept of BGP next hop self. So we are not going to deep to understand next hop self here. We are just going to configure next hop self. Okay, let's configure MikroTik 12 next hop self command for the neighbor MikroTik 13 for active this prefix, right. So let's go on MikroTik 12. This is MikroTik 12. So we know that how to configure next hop self command on Cisco router, right. Here there we can just mention something neighbor and next hop self. Here how can we configure, you can see that how can we can configure. We have to go on routing BGP, and then we can see the neighbor with 23.13. This is the neighbor 23.13, that is the peer 3. Double click on, and here we can see that next hop choice, that is currently by default, currently here is this mentioned default. So let's click here. Here we can see that force self, here option is force self, so click on force self and apply. Okay, done. So we configured the next hop self command on MikroTik 12, and let's check on MikroTik 13. So this is MikroTik 13. So now again check the IP route, print. So we can see that now this is active dynamic BGP. This prefix is active and distance is 200. We can see that also this prefix is receiving from 23.12, which is MikroTik 23. Before that it was receiving from 12.11, right. So this is next hop self concept basically, right. So we see that both MikroTik 13, MikroTik 14 are receiving the prefix from their neighbor router, and which is advertised on MikroTik 11, right. Now let's apply the no export community here. So through that we can do the filtration and the path manipulation, right. So let's go on MikroTik 11 first, and let's configure the no export. We discussed about the no export, how it works. If any prefix receiving from no export community on R2, it will advertise only to iBGP neighbor, it will not advertise to eBGP neighbor. So let's configure here. So for that, here we have to go on routing and then filters. So usually on Cisco router we have to apply prefix list, route maps, something like that we have to configure, right. So let's configure here filters, routing filters mentioned here, right. Okay, so here we don't have kind of prefix list and route mat, something like which is used in the Cisco, but in the MikroTik router we have filter option here. So click on the plus. When we click on the plus, we have something like this. This is the new windows, and we have matches here. Here we have chan, anything you can mention the chan in the name. Chan, here we have to mention the name. For example, here we are going to mention no export, right. This is the chan name. Prefix, we are not going to configure anything prefix currently. If we just leave the blank, so I leave the blank the prefix, that means whatever the prefix available on MikroTik 11, that will for that the rules apply, right? Then go on BGP, and in the BGP so we can go the action, BGP action, right? And the BGP action we can see here, set BGP communities and append BGP communities. So we can apply both one. I mean, this here we can also apply set BGP community, something like that. If you click here, the we have option no export, no advertise, local AS, right? Here we can also mention, and the append BGP community we can also mention here. So if something you mention here with set BGP community, and with append BGP community you applied something else. For example, you applied no export here, and then you applied here no advertise. So this one will be preferred mostly append BGP communities, right? So no export will not prefer, no advertise will prefer, right? So that's why I'm not going to do anything this here. I'm directly going to append BGP communities, and here we are going to mention the no export and apply. That's it. What we have done here, we have created the chan, that is no export, and prefix we haven't defined anything. That means any prefix, whatever the prefix configured on MikroTik 11s, and the BGP action we have given, and append BGP community we mentioned from defined, which is already available here. So we just mention the no export and then apply, and then okay, done. We have done that. Let's go on MikroTik 11, sorry 12, right? So here we configure the no export community, so this one will receive whatever the prefix here, this one will receive. So let's check here IP route print. So we can see that both prefixes available, right? Both prefixes available. If we want to check the community, let's check routing BGP routing route, not route, BGP route. I want to check this is receiving from no export or what. Routing advertisement, routing BGP advertisement print. Here nothing mentioned related to the communities, maybe some other commands. So let's try routing filter is something filter print, nothing related to routing BGP. What are the things available? I think here we don't network print, no, not network. Routing BGP, I think we don't have option here, because routing BGP we have this advertisement and this print where destination at destination, where we can mention here communities something. Pair print prefix 10.0.0 .0/8. No, this is not the command. something. This is the command I forgot. Okay, leave it, no problem. We can check through the root. Okay, so we can see that IP route print, so we can receiving both of the prefix. Let's go on the MikroTik 14, right? So this one is MikroTik 14, and so this is eBGP neighbor. So no export is saying that if a prefix receiving from no export community, it will not advertise to the eBGP neighbor. So this is MikroTik 14 is eBGP neighbor. So here we can check IP route print. Okay, so we can see that this one is still receiving. It should not receive now, it should not be received here, the prefix. So I think something we have done some mistakes. Let's check on the MikroTik 11. Here we have the MikroTik 11. So we have created the filters no export, but I think so we haven't applied this rules with peers. So then go on the peers, and the peers, after that double click, and whatever the filter rules we applied, we have to apply here. So here is the option, here is the option out filter, right? So we are going for the outbound, right? So this is the outbound, right? The prefix is advertising to this side, so for this it is outbound, right? So we can here mention the out filter, this is outbound. So we can click here, and here we created the rules in the filter no export, we apply the no export, apply. Okay, we have done. Now the rules is applied with the BGP peer, and after that we can check here on MikroTik 14's the route is receiving or not, prefix is receiving or not. So we can see that after apply the rules with the BGP peers, we cannot see any kind of prefix which was receiving before, right? This was receiving before, but now it is not receiving. Why? Because we applied the no export community here, which is it will not share prefix with eBGP neighbor, right? So in the same way, let's check on MikroTik 13. On MikroTik 13, if we check, so according to the concept, it should receive IP route print. We can see that here it is receiving. We can see that both of the prefix is receiving, right? So this is receiving because no export communities, which is it will advertise to the iBGP neighbor, but it will not advertise to eBGP neighbor. So this is about no export community, right? So what we have done here, so we applied the no export community. So what happened here, so here the route is receiving 10.0.0.0/8, 20.0.0.0/8, but here no prefix receiving, no prefix receiving, right? So this is the concept of no export communities, right? Let's do something else now. We understand that how the no export community is working, and we have test also on the MikroTik router how we can configure. So let's repeat again how we configured here. So in the MikroTik 11s, we advertise the networks 10.0.0.0 and 20.0.0.0, and here we created the filter rules, and the filter rules we have created, which is this filter rules created. Here we have defined the chan is no export, and prefix is any, whatever the prefix is available on router which will advertise. And then go the BGP action, and the BGP action here we have option append BGP communities. Here we can click that, we can see the no export option is available, and we apply the rules, and after that go on the peers, and the peers in the outbound we applied whatever the rules, filter rules we have created. According to that, we can see that this one, the middle router is receiving the both of the prefix, but it will not advertise to eBGP neighbor, it will only advertise to the iBGP neighbor. Accordingly, we have checked that. We can see again that this is MikroTik 13, which is iBGP neighbor. So IP.print, we can see that both prefixes available, and we can here check we on MikroTik 14 we cannot see any kind of prefix available. So this is about MikroTik the no export community, right? Now if we want only 10.0.0./8 is should be the part of no export communities, and 20.0.0.0/8 on that prefix we will not apply any kind of communities, so it will be have like normal prefix, right? So let's try how can we do. So here for this I am going to apply for 10.0.0 prefix I am going to apply no export communities, and for 20.0.0 we just we have like normal prefix, we will not apply any kind of community here. So how can we do on the MikroTik? Let's check here. So MikroTik 11 first we will go. So routing, filters, no export, matches, here we created nothing do, we have to just mention here the prefix, that is we can mention 10.0.0.0/8, apply, okay, done, right? So here we just defined the rule is for only for 10.0.0.0/8. So in this case what will be happen, in this case what will be happen for 10.0.0 10.0.0.0/8, here no export community we applied, no export community. In this case what will be happens, so this one belongs to the no export community, and 20.0.0 is not belongs to the no export community, that is be having a normal prefix. So what will be happen, this will receive to here on R2, it will not advertise to the this eBGP neighbor, it will only advertise to this eBGP neighbor, the iBGP neighbor, right? And 20.0.0, and what happened here, 20.0.0.0, so with the 20.0.0.0/8 we are not applying any kind of the community. So what will be happen, it will receive here, it will advertise this one also, it will advertise this one also, right? Because this is not belonging to any kind of community. Let's check here, we applied here prefix 10.0.0/8, okay. Now so we haven't created any kind of new rules, we just here applied 10.0.0/8 for the specific prefix. Now we can check on MikroTik eBGP, I mean MikroTik the 14, which has eBGP neighbors. So here what will be happen, here the normal prefix should be received. Let's check on MikroTik 14. So IP.print, so we can see that 20.0.0.0/8, which is be having like a normal prefix. So the MikroTik 14 is eBGP neighbors with MikroTik 12, so this is receiving the prefix 20.0.0.0/8. Let's check on MikroTik 13. This is MikroTik 13, and IP.print, we can do that ip.print. So we can see that here both prefixes receiving. So one prefix 10.0.0.0/8 is receiving from no export communities, which because it is iBGP neighbors, and 20.0.0.8 is receiving normal prefix, right? The with that no any communities applied, right? So 20.0.0 is receiving this one also and this one also. So this one have one prefix, this one had two prefix, right? So what happened here in the next when we applied let's understand here what we have done here. No, we applied no export communities 10.0.0.0/8 and with 20.0.0.0/8 we don't no normal prefix be normal prefix, no community applied here. So in this case what happened, what happened when 10.0.0.8 receiving here, it advertise to this, it will not it doesn't advertise to this, right? So here in this R3, that is iBGP neighbor, we have both prefix available, but here we have prefix available 20.0.0.0/8. Here not available 10.0.0.0 because that is belonging to no export communities, correct? So this is the scenario we discussed. Now the second scenario, what we can do, if we want this 20.0.0 should not be received on this router, right? Because this is behaving like normal prefix, this is not belonging to any kind of communities. So if we want this 20.0.0.0 should not be received on this router, only receive to this router, right? So what we have to do here, we have to apply the filter rules here on this router, right? Let's do. So here MikroTik 12 we have to apply the filter rule for to stop the 20.0.0 prefix to advertise on MikroTik 13, right? So let's go on the MikroTik 12. So what can we do here, we have to go on routing, we can mention the filter here, we have to apply any some rules here, route filter, any kind of name here we can mention. For example, we can mention the anything. For example, we are discussing no export community, so we can mention the no export, any name we can mention. Currently we just mention the no export, no problem. And prefix I'm going to mention here 20.0.0.0/8, and then going to action, and this action we mention here the reject. Okay, so we apply this rule, matches chan is no export and prefix is this 20.0.0, action we mention reject. What we are going to do, now go on the routing BGP and with iBGP neighbors where we need to stop to advertise the prefix to the neighbor with the MikroTik 13. So this is the neighborship between the MikroTik 13, between MikroTik 12 to 13. So let's click on this and then click on the out filters, and here we can mention no export because we already created the rule no export. Okay, done. We have applied the rules, right? So it established again. Now let's go on the MikroTik 13 and check that rules IP route print. So we can see that here it is not receiving the prefix from MikroTik 12, which is stop to advertise 20.0.0.0/8, which was belongs to normal prefix, right? So only MikroTik 13 is receiving no export community prefix, that is 10.0.0.0/8, right? So what we discussed again, we discussed this. We stop here on this router to advertise 20.0.0, right? So now we have something like this. We have just 10.0.0 receiving on this router, which is from no export communities, and this is receiving this is receiving from the normal prefix, right? Correct, right? So we discussed this. Next we can discuss about also No-Advertise. Okay, so let's discuss also the No-Advertise communities. Yeah, what happened in No-Advertise? In the No-Advertise community, what will be happen? So yeah, here mention No-Advertise community. No-Advertise community. What happened in the No-Advertise community? If we configured here No-Advertise community, so if prefix receiving from No-Advertise community from R1 to the R2, right? So if prefix is receiving from No-Advertise community on this router, this will not advertise the prefix to iBGP peer, as well as it will not advertise to eBGP neighbors. So neither this nor this. Okay, so what is No-Advertise community saying? That if prefix is receiving from No-Advertise community, it will not advertise to iBGP near, also it will not advertise to eBGP never, right? So this will happen here. Not advertise, not advertise. Correct. So let's configure this here. We discuss no export community. Let's discuss about No-Advertise community. So whatever the rules be applied on MikroTik 12, let's remove that. So this is MikroTik 12. We applied this rules. So first of all, remove from BGP peer. Here we applied. Here just we have to remove. Okay, and you have to go on the filter, routing filters. Here you can just remove here from this, select and remove. Okay, so now we are going to apply the rule, that is No-Advertise community. We discussed already the no export community. Let's discuss the No-Advertise. So for the No-Advertise, we are on MikroTik 11. So this is MikroTik 11. So in this case, what we are going to do, So routing filter, let's create no advertise community. So this is no export we already created. We can mention here no advertise, no advertise, no advertise, whatever the name you can mention, no problem. And the prefix be mentioned 10.0.0/8. First we tried without any specific prefix. For the both of the prefix it will applied, because we haven't decided here for a specific prefix. And then go on the BGP action, and in the BGP action here you have to just click on append BGP community, and here is the option of no advertise, apply. Okay, so this rule apply for both of the prefix, which is whatever the prefix available here on MikroTik 11. So routing BGP, go on the BGP and then click, and here out filter you have to mention no advertise, no advertise. Okay, fine. Let's check on MikroTik 12 first. This is the MikroTik 12. Go on terminal. So this one will receive the prefix, both the prefix, the MikroTik 12 will receive IP route print. So we can see that both of the prefix is receiving here, right? Let's check on MikroTik 13 and 14. They are receiving prefix or not. So they should not be received. So IP route print. So we are on the MikroTik 13, which has iBGP neighbor. So we can see that we don't have any kind of prefix here, right? Before that it had 10.0.0. Before that we test about the no export community, so it had the prefix 10.0.0, but now we don't have, right? Same way we can check on MikroTik 14. So where is the MikroTik 14? This is MikroTik 14. So before it had 20.0.0/8. Let's check the IP route print. So we cannot see any kind of prefix here. So what happened here? Whatever the prefix receiving from no advertise community, it received here, and it will not advertise to iBGP neighbor, and it will not advertise to eBGP neighbor as well. So this is about no advertise community. Same way we can do with a specific prefix. So we can try here. So MikroTik 11 we are here. So in MikroTik 11 what we are going to do, go on the routing filter, no advertise. Here we haven't decided before the prefix. Let's decide the prefix here. So just mention 20.10.0.0. Before that let's mention, okay, fine, for the 10.0.0.0/8 we are applying no advertise community. So apply. Okay, so in this case what we are going to do, let's understand. For the specific prefix we are trying, let's just understand here. So no advertise community, right? We are going to discuss. So we are discussing. So what the next things we are doing, we put here 10.0.0.0 into the no advertise communities, no advertise community, right? So in this case what will be happened, in this 10.0.0.0 no advertise community, it will receive to the R2, but it will not advertise to this, it will not advertise this. But 20.0.0 here will be have like normal prefix, so that will advertise to both of the router, which is here R3 and R4 it will receive, right? Because we are going to apply this no advertise community on 10.0.0.0, right? Fine, right? Okay, yes. So let's pent do. So go on here. Yeah, already applied the rule, right? Already here the outbound be mentioned. Let's check on the R13 first. So R13 IP dot print. So we can see that 20.0.0/8 is receiving because this is be having a normal prefix. It is not belonging to no advertise community. So 10.0.0 is belonging to no advertise community, which we discussed here. Okay, so this one is not receiving on MikroTik 13, which is iBGP neighbor. So 10.0.0 here it is not receiving because that is belonging to no advertise community. Let's check on MikroTik 14 as well. So this is MikroTik 14. So IP route print, we can see that 20.0.0 is receiving as normal prefix, and 10.0.0.0 is not receiving here, because it belongs to no advertise community, right? Now we can do something like this. In this MikroTik 11 we can apply both the rule, like no export communities and no advertise communities. So what we are going to do here, we will do something like this. B for the specific resource 10.0.0.0/8 we will mention no export communities it will belong, and 20.0.0.0/8 it will no advertise community we can mention, something like that. Okay, so how can we do here? Yeah, let's try. So this rule, this concept we are going to try. So in the outbound, remember here in the outbound we can only mention one CHAN rule here, right? Only if we make no export, if we make CHAN for the no export is different name, and if we make no advertise CHAN is for different name, so that both will not apply on the outbound. So for that we have to mention both the community in the same CHAN, right? So let's go on MikroTik 11. So let's configure routing filter here. So we can do something like this: no advertise, no something like this. So we can no advertise, no export, something like that. We can mention the CHAN name. So first is the prefix is 10.0.0/8. BGP action be applied here, no export. We can no export apply. Okay, done. Then same click plus double click and then copy. Then once we copy here, so we can see that the same things copied here, so now for this same the CHAN, for the same name we can change here, that is 20.0.0.0/8, and the BGP action we can here for the no advertise. Okay, done. So we can see that here we have two rules with the same CHAN names, and in this same CHAN names for the 10.0.0.0/8 we applied no export, and for the 20.0.0 we applied the no advertise, right? And this the new chain name we mentioned, so we have to go on routing BGP and the peer, and then here out filter, here we have to change no advertise no export, which we created just by okay, right? So what will be happen in this case? In this case 10.0.0 is belonging to no advertise, so this one will not receive 10.0.0 prefix, right? And 20.0.0 is belonging to sorry, I do mistake. Let's go on pent. So what will be happened here? This is belonging to the no export, so this will receive here, so this will advertise to this, the R3 will receive this prefix, but this will not receive the R4 will not receive this prefix because this is belonging to no export. It will not advertise to eBGP neighbor, but it will receive, right? And in the no advertise, what will be happen? R2 will receive, but it will not advertise to this, it will not advertise to this, right? So we can keep here, right? Let's check here on the MikroTik router. So first go on MikroTik 12. Here we can see IP route print, so we can see that both of the prefixes available. Now let's go on MikroTik 13. Here this is MikroTik 13. We can do IP route print, so we can see that 10.0.0/8 is receiving because that is belonging to no export, right? So 13 is receiving the prefix, but it is not receiving the 20.0.0/8 prefix because that is belonging to no advertise. Let's check on the MikroTik 14 as well. So this is MikroTik 14. So here IP route print, so we can see that here no any kind of prefix is receiving, right? So this is all about BGP communities, no export and no advertise we discussed about, right? So here we discussed in MikroTik, and in MikroTik, so we discussed here in version 6. This is version 6 OS of the MikroTik 6. This is version 6 MikroTik OS. Here we discuss on the version 6.49.18. so this way we can configure on MikroTik version 6 OS about the BGP communities, no export and no advertise here discuss. Okay, fine, thanks, thank you.